Hello. Today's video I wanted to touch on the idea of our passions. What are we passionate about? This is a question I like to ask people, and what's curious is that a lot of people, when I ask them, it seems like they hadn't really taken the time to consider the answer to such an important question, which is part of the reason why I like to encourage people to ask this question, or I ask people this question when I have the opportunity. One thing that I've noticed is that when we talk about passions, there are different types of passions. There are passions which I would say are very egoistic or intellectual or programmed passions. And then there's what I like to encourage people towards is an expression of connected passions. And this is once you've started to understand a little bit of the ego and learn to make decisions not based on it, but on more based on letting the ego's suggestions go, to see what happens, see what inspires you when you do have those moments of connection. These are the true passions. I see these as more of what our gifts are to bring this world, to share with this world, and to develop, rather than the worldly, egoistic type ideals that somebody else might think that they're passionate about. We can be passionate for playing video games, or watching our favorite hockey team, or listening to our favorite band. But I don't see those as anything that creates a connected expression that nurtures ourselves, and as an expression of our true self. I see it almost as an expression of our programmed self. These are beliefs and preferences that we've developed through the world's influence. It has nothing necessarily to do with with our connections influence being out of the way of the ego. And these are what I see as valuable. We can have these other, the egoistic expressions of passion, and we can value those, but once we learn to have an expression of connection, we can then have something that's comparable to an egoistic passion or a passion of connection. And at that point, it seems pretty evident where the value is, what sustains you, and how maybe even the egoistic passion is more of a distraction from your development, and you're creating the expression of connection. It seems to me that a lot of what I see when people get connected, their passions are in the arts, in healing, spirituality, helping others, empowerment, all of these sorts of ideas. It can be a very wide range, but it's generally a creation of their self, not of the mind, not of the ego so much, but of their true nature. And this passion, this inspiration, once they connect it to it and they allow for it to create, then they discover the value of these things and why it's so worthwhile to commit to developing it and giving time to that expression rather than distracting away from it. If you don't have an answer for when somebody asks you what are you truly passionate about and you don't get a sense that it's coming from your soul, from connection, don't be disheartened. The idea is, this is almost the idea of planting a seed to have you look and become aware that you might not be spending your time in your days considering such things of importance. So this is a gift in itself. Even if you don't have a passion yet and you're watching this video, the value is to begin to contemplate what it is. What is the expression of your soul? Why are you here? What is your gift to this world? You develop this by getting away and learning how to transcend the ego or surrender the ego and create more practices of, or allow for more practices of connection, whether it's mindful breathing, mindfulness, meditation. All of these things doesn't necessarily mean that you have to become affiliated with a religion. There's value in that for some, for sure. However, it can also be distracting for those that are naive. It can be distracting spiritually, in the manner that if you don't understand at a certain level, you're giving your power to what an authority or a religion might suggest, rather than developing spiritually and becoming your own authority of connection, which is the ultimate goal, so to speak. And this is what all of the spiritual masters that have had religions based on them, this was their value. They developed themselves spiritually. So I'll close by asking, and people can share this if they're inspired to, what are you passionate about? What energizes you? What inspires you? What do you feel is the expression that comes out of you when you're connected? What does your soul long for? Is it an art of some sort? Is it a healing modality of some sort? Is it to empower others of some sort? You might find that it's in alignment with one of these, maybe even all of these. You might have a passion for all of these certain things. And once you become aware of it, you become less willing to distract yourself from it and more willing to invest in it. Invest your efforts and your time and your energy into these things. I think as we look back, as I look back on my experience, coming from one not aware at all to the point that I'm at currently, I gave a lot of time to distractions. Partially because I didn't understand that there was something more. And this question in itself will help those who don't understand that there's something more begin to investigate and contemplate. And as you start to get glimpses that there is something more, it's hard to settle for the less than. If we want to say less than. It's hard to settle for an expression coming through you that isn't completely you and your soul, but rather programs, right? when we think of the egoistic programs coming through. These aren't anything that our soul is passionate about at all. They're just programs that we've picked up through our influence, whether it's television, family, friends, what have you, right? So spend some time, see if you can begin to unravel the idea of what your passion is, and what that expression is of connection. What makes your heart sing, some might say. Right? Take care, my friends.